Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight on the podcast, yes, the Democrats have done it again. In Michigan, they have decided to put a bill up, and I saw this headline come across, you can see it here, that if you're using the wrong pronoun, you can get some jail time on a bill that they have proposed and have up to $10,000 fine. Now, you want to send somebody to jail for a pronoun. That's something that nobody know what somebody identify as. But let's go ahead on and, of course, like we normally do, let's do our homework first before we go in. Let's look at the actual bill, and then we'll come back and then really have a conversation about the one word that they don't have no law for in America. So let's look at the bill, ladies and gentlemen, that Michigan put up here, which is utterly ridiculous. So it's HB 4474. It's passed House June 20, 2023. It's a substitute for House Bill number 4474. Because, over here, we're going to read some bills. Now, I say a bill to amend 1931 PA 328 entitled the Michigan Penal Code by amending Section 147B as added by 1988 PA 371. So the people of the state of Michigan enact Section 147B, a person is guilty of, it's a hate crime. It's if that person maliciously, as you see, they crossed out all that, okay? And it picks back up here, and intentionally does any of the following to an individual based in whole or in part of an actual or perceived characteristic of that individual listed under subsection 2, regardless of the existence of any other motivating factors. Number 7 here, A, uses force or violence on another individual. B, causes bodily injury to another individual. C, intimidates another individual. D, damages, destroys, or defaces any real, personal, digital, or online property of another individual without the consent of that individual. E, threatens by word or act to do any of the actions described under subsections A and D. A to D. It said the actual or perceived characteristics of another individual referenced under subsection 1 include all of the following: race or color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression is what we all, and what the news has also been talking about here. They added that into a hate crime statute about if you don't call someone their proper pronoun, if you quote unquote misgender them, now you're committing a hate crime in the state of Michigan if this passes. Of course, physical and mental disability, age, ethnicity, national origin, association or affiliation with an individual or group of individuals in whole or in part based on the characteristic described, let's say, under the subdivisions. Now they said, except as provided in subsection 4, a person who violates subsection 1 is guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment for not more than 2 years or by a fine of not more than $5,000 or both. If any of the following conditions apply, a person who violates subsection 1 is guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment for not more than 5 years or by a fine of not more than $10,000 or both. And say the violation results in bodily injury. The person has one or more prior convictions for violating subsection 1. A victim of the violation of subsection 1 is less than 18 years of age and the offender is less than 19 years of age. The person commits the violation of subsection 1 in concert with one or the more other individuals. It said a person is in possession of a firearm during the commission of a violation of subsection. It say if the prosecuting attorney intends to seek an enhanced sentence based upon the defendant having one or more prior convictions under subsection 4B, the prosecuting attorney shall include on the complaint information, a statement listing the prior conviction or convictions. The existence of the defendant's prior conviction or convictions must be determined by the court without a jury, at sentencing, or at a separate hearing for that purpose before sentencing. That's what's being proposed by the Democrats in Michigan. But let's talk about what the Democrats are not proposing. As you see, that is an amended law because they already had hate crime laws on the books. And for them adding gender identity or expression, no one knows someone's pronoun. They don't wear a sign that says my pronoun is him, her, she, they, whatever that stuff is. I can't remember. I know I'm screwing it up, but that's not the way I live, okay? I am old school. I believe in the traditional family. So I'm not really too good with all that non-binary, cisgender. No, keep that over there. I'm going to keep it simplistic and what normally has worked for thousands upon thousands of years. So if you misgender someone or call someone the wrong pronoun, now they can say that's a hate crime and put you in jail, possibly up to 5 years with a fine. But you know what was not in that bill that we read? You could call black folk the N-word all day long. We have a documented history of the N-word being used to threaten us, intimidate us, and take our lives. And your Democrat friends say that pronouns that they choose to call themselves that do not have a documented history of white supremacist terrorism, if you don't call them by their pronoun or what gender they want to be called, you can go to jail for that. But it's perfectly legal in Michigan to call black men and women the N-word, and it's okay. Matter of fact, that's freedom of speech to call the black man and woman of America the N-word. Now, I thought that the Democrat Party, listen to me, I thought the Democrat Party is y'all friends. Notice how the Democrat Party protects everybody else, and let's call it what it is. That's going to benefit the white LGBTQ, not the black one, the white one. We know this. But they will apply all these laws to protect the LGBT and use laws that our ancestors fought and died for to protect them. It's just like the affirmative action thing. Who was benefiting the most out of affirmative action? White women. Did white women get out there and fight and die for those different protections black people had? No, they didn't. They just could waltz right in after our people have died, after our people have been buried, after our people have been ostracized, after our people rotted their life away in jail. They get to walk right in and benefit off of what black people fought for. All these groups have benefited off of the fight of black America. And then we don't supposed to say anything. We don't supposed to talk about it. We don't supposed to even call it to the carpet because, hey, well, at least it's better than the Republicans. Yeah, that's better than the Republicans. Watching everybody else get protection except black folk. Watching the Democrats protect Asians. Watch the Democrats protect the LGBT. Man, they protect the LGBT so tight that in Michigan, if it passed, even if it passed, it's going to be shot down because let's call it what it is. That Supreme Court going to shoot it down. I already know that. But this is how far the Democrats will go to protect these other groups. But they have not put nothing on the books, nothing to protect black people. The people that suffers the most hate crimes in America every year, according to FBI statistics. It's black Americans. It's not all these other subgroups. It's us. They have not put one law on the books to specifically protect black Americans. Not one. But they supposed to be your friends. Well, what kind of friend is that? I don't need a friend like that. I'd rather stay by myself than have a friend like that that's always trying to screw us over. What kind of crap is that? And this is what these Democrats have been doing to black folks like forever. Recently, Biden just tried to go around the Supreme Court and trying to do student loan forgiveness, trying to get some of y'all that went to the college back on the Democrat plantation. And unfortunately, the Shields is going to come out and say, yes, he did something for black peoples. Well, you do know the forgiveness only goes to people who've been paying that bill for 20 years or 25 years. It's not for you who just graduated college. Just want to let you know that. And they say only really about 800,000 people will benefit from that. I mean, 800,000 is way more than 800,000 people that got student loans. That is not a mass forgiveness. That is a targeted forgiveness. You understand what I'm saying? So how is that actually a win, and how does that benefit black peoples? You know, because the Shields is going to come out and talk about this. See, the Shields never will address why the Democrat Party don't prioritize the protection of black man and woman of America when you have documented history, documented statistics, all kind of proof of why black Americans need a particular protection in this country. You see people that just come across the border yesterday have more protections than black people. You look in New York City, you got people that just come across the border. They put them in the Row Hotel by Times Square, put them up. They come from the people that I covered a video on, which I'm going to upload. They came from Venezuela, way from South America. And they passed up so many Latin American countries. In order to even get out of Venezuela, they had to go through Colombia. They didn't want to be in Colombia. They had to go through Panama. Panama is a decent country. It's a lot of Brazil actually have a higher GDP than all of them on the South American part of the continent, right? They didn't want to go next door to Brazil. No, they get to go all the way through all these different Latin American countries to come up here to the United States. If you come in for asylum, you go to the next country over who has a stable economy. In Panama, for instance, they should have stopped in Panama. That's why I keep saying that those laws need to be changed, that you need to go to the first country that you can get to. You don't get to pick and choose what country you want just because you feel like you should be there. No. But the Democrat Party will prioritize and give all the money that's supposed to go to you to that situation. They'll protect every other subgroup but black America. What are you still voting for these people for? We're not getting, listen, you have been voting for them for 60 years. What have we got out of it? I mean, name something that we as a collective of people got out of it. And I will say this much. If you bring up the Republicans in my chat, and anybody who's a mod, if they bring up the Republicans in my chat, block them. Because you have been not giving your votes to Republicans for 60 years. So how can I address them? If you gave them your votes like that, then you better believe I would mention the Democrats. I'll be talking about Republican, because we're giving you the votes and you're not doing nothing with it. So miss me with that Republican conversation, because one thing you like to do, and you learn this from your white zaddy, to try to deflect and gaslight conversations when you're being held to account. That's what you learn from your Democrat white zaddy. You don't want to deal with what you do politically. And the fact is, you've been voting for nothing. You've been performative voting. And everybody has been benefiting off of your vote for a long time, except black America. And I know a lot of you even just feel like the white supremacists. How dare you ask for something? How dare you? The people in the LGBT community, I didn't hear no mass movement of them coming out talking about we want some sort of protections about our pronouns. I ain't hear them say that. They are just doing things just to protect them. They're trying to put them in a particular class that you can't say nothing to them. You can't say nothing about them. You can't, or it's a felony. Well, you know why? Because the Democrat Party is on a depopulation agenda. That's why. So they want to protect those who serve their interests, just like Planned Parenthood and any other place like that who's on the depopulation agenda. Because you remember, the Democrats push anything anti-traditional family. They push and support degeneracy, anything to break down social order or healthy families. They want to break that down. And it's very sinister and it's very wicked. This is why a lot of black people, I'm telling you, I was in a barbershop yesterday. We were talking about these different issues, reparations, all these different things. They had an older sister in there. That sister looked like she was from civil rights generation. You know what that sister told me? When she heard me talking about different things with reparations, talking about different things the Democrat Party has been doing, that sister was saying, you know what, you're 100% right. You know, hearing you talk like that, you say, I've been thinking it, but, you know, and I said, yeah, I said, we've been voting for Democrat for how many years? 60 years. I said, what have we gotten? And she said, we haven't gotten anything. He said, I admit that we haven't gotten a thing. And I said, look, at this point, man, go ahead and bring Trump back. I said, because at least Trump didn't come up with no laws or do anything to hurt black people. And then she like, no, he actually didn't. I mean, I may not like some things he said, but no, I can't say he hurt black people like that. Do you know how many black people have said that to me? And if you don't believe me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Brother Sharif, and I'm going to start going out on the street and just questioning black people about different things when it comes to politics. How they feel about Joe Biden, you know, what they think about the country, just simple things. Not nothing that you got to think so hard about. How they feel about reparations, just simple things like that, and get raw, real-time reactions from people in the community. And I guarantee you, they not gonna like it. Because see, one thing the mainstream media don't do, they don't go ask black people how they really think. They may choose somebody in particular to talk, but they don't just go ask the average everyday black person, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? They don't do that. Because they don't want America to really know we don't mess with the Democrats like that, because we already know how they are and what they've been doing wrong to us. Look at Chicago. Chicago spent all that money, and the Democrats, on the immigrants that come in here. And now they're complaining. They're complaining that they're not getting the jobs. They're complaining that say they're not getting what they were promised. Somebody's telling them to come up here, and we know it's people in the Democrat Party. Because how is it that it's a coincidence that when Biden got in office, everything just went crazy with that? Everything went crazy the moment he got in office. So we know this is done by design. And every time we look up, we're the one being hurt by it. We talk about reparations, and the Democrats giving all the money to Ukraine. All the money. In the billions. But when you talk about, hey, we need to have some reparations. Hey, we need to fix the homeless situation in our American cities. Hey, our kids need better schools. Hey, we need to upgrade some of our airports. Some of our airports not looking too good. Some of the highways aren't looking good. Some streets need these brand new streets and these potholes. Or hey, you know, some of these properties are eyesore. Let's go ahead and clear this stuff out and let's get some new development or whatever. No, you don't have money for all that, but you got money for Ukraine. That's what you got money for. And you have an unlimited check. But when the descendants of slaves say, okay, since you got an unlimited check, go ahead and pass some of that over here. No, I'm not giving you nothing. Forget that. And it's your Democrats that's telling you no. Forget the Republicans. It's the Democrats. We know what some Republicans going to do. Some Republicans are straight up white supremacists. We know that. That's nothing hidden. And we know the Democrats are white supremacists too. They just white supremacists with a smile on their face. That's just the difference. I always told y'all, give me my white supremacist loud and snarling while I can see him or her coming versus the one that's smiling in my face. But the Democrats were never putting up on the books to protect you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. No hate crime bill. Nothing that says they call you the N-word, they go to jail. But if you misgender somebody, if you don't call them by their right pronoun, you're behind to go to prison for 5 years. Now imagine sitting in prison and people like, what you doing? What you in here for? People in there, some people in there, they didn't kill people. Some people in there aggravated robbery. Some people that done some horrible things in there. But you sitting in prison, and you sitting in prison because you didn't call someone the right pronoun, and they felt intimidated by that. So now you're sitting in prison with straight killers. You never had a record in your life, but now you're sitting in prison. Do you see why a lot of people have been having a mass exodus out of northern states? I don't know if you've been researching that. It's been a mass exodus out of northern states to the south, to a lot, especially a lot of Republican states, because the Republican states are starting to really clean up some of this stuff that's been going on as anti-family, anti things that just of social order. A lot of people have been moving down to the south, and I see why. I've been made a call to black folks to say, look, black people, you need to return back home to the land of your ancestors. The land of your ancestors is the South. You talking about you built America? You built America from the South. That is your homeland. If anywhere else in this country, your homeland is the southern states. That's where the majority of black people live. You can look it up and do the research. The majority of black people live in the southern states. That is our homeland right there. This is where we built America, from the South. And a lot of black people are starting to come from the northern states to the South. And of course, some people we get in there, I wish they would stay in those cities up there. Unfortunately, some people went to Atlanta, and the wrong folks went to Atlanta, because Atlanta's a great city. It really is. Shout out to my brothers and sisters in Atlanta. Some of them came to Houston too. Oh yeah, some of them came to Dallas, so they coming too, unfortunately. But we need to get our brothers and sisters back to the South. We do. Because we can do something down here. If we unify, we could do something. But all these other northern states, look at what California is promoting. I mean, and that's Democrat Central. They talking about the California Reparations Commission. Look, California is on the hook for that. And I'm going to tell you why. No one can stop them from doing reparations. They don't have a Republican opposition over there. Not big enough to stop them doing reparations. So Gavin Newsom got himself in a pickle with that one, because either he do something about it or he don't do nothing, make everybody look and notice it was a Democrat finesse, and then you have somebody like me riding down on that for many weeks and saying this is how the Democrat Party feel about black folk, which they do. They don't want to give black folks reparations, not whatsoever. But to lock somebody up for a pronoun, but no one can get locked up for saying the N-word, black folks really think about that. Because it doesn't make a bit of sense whatsoever. Maybe if black folks would be prioritized, maybe black folks would think about voting for the Democrats. But a lot of black people in this country every day walking away from the Democrat Party. And that's a beautiful thing, because why would you stay in any relationship where you're not prioritized or honored?